Okay, hey guys, my name is Grant. I am the sales manager here at Thunder Laser USA, and we're doing another customer spotlight with Sallie Shaw from Simply Sallie. If you want to introduce yourself, Sallie, tell us about who you are, what you do, and why you got started creating, or how you got started creating.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Grant, for having me on here. It's an honor. So I've had an online business since about 2015. I had a full-time job and I wanted to, like many other people, I wanted to be home with my kids. Well, at that time, I only had one child. We were wanting to grow our family. So I definitely wanted to make it happen and I would do whatever it took. I was like, I got to make this work. So it started off with vinyl decals. I did some sewing and stuff here and there, but I was mainly selling vinyl decals and personalized items. So that kind of led me into making stenciled wood signs. I don't know if you've ever done anything with that before, but it took a lot of work. You had to make the stencil with your vinyl machine, and then you had to apply it to the wood. You'd have to obviously finish the wood, so staining it, cutting it, all the things. And so I did really well with that. So that's kind of what really started my love for woodworking. And I was like, I want to keep growing this business, but I can't keep going out here doing all this extra labor with the vine. It took a lot of work. So I knew that a laser was what I wanted, and I looked for a year, kind of in the back end, kind of trying to decide what laser I wanted, what did I need, who should I go with, all the things. And I remember the day that my husband and I were sitting down, we're like, let's do this. And he said, I'll help you, if you want to, if you get one, I can kind of help work with you and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I think we're going to do this. So I really kind of took it seriously. I started calling all around all the companies. I probably called pretty much all of the major competitors and things, and ultimately went with Thunder. You guys stuck out so much. Just the calls with you guys, how friendly you were, and looking into like the details of your business, like the support, all the things. I was like, that's who I'm going with. And obviously, it took a lot of research, and that's what ultimately led me to decide to go with Thunder. So we got up the machine, and then while I was waiting for it, I did all the research. I wanted to make sure that I had learned all I could. And you guys did the 1 hour training when we got it. And so that was really, really helpful. And once we got it, I was so excited. I kind of dove in. I think we got it around Christmas time, and I launched like my new products that January. And the business really took off from there. My husband works with me full time. We do this thing together. And I also have a YouTube channel where I like to talk about different crafty things. And the laser is another focal point of that. And so, yeah, have a pretty successful Etsy shop. We focus fully on wood signs now. We make laser cut wood signs. So, yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a journey. But that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that your husband, when you were looking at a laser, he's like, "Hey, I'll help you out here and there," and then
Hmm.
now he's full
Yeah.
time with you. Y'all are both doing this business together, so it's just crazy how it came full circle like
Yes.
that.
Right.
Something else I wanted to touch on. So you mentioned that you had a career. You were doing something before you started doing these crafts. So what were you doing before you started crafting?
Before I started crafting, so I kind of was an admin assistant. I had like admin positions.
Hmm.
So that is what I did. I did all the things that I thought was right. I was like, okay, right out of high school, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get my degree. And then I started working, and then, you have your family and you're missing, to me, like, I just kind of hurt my heart being away from my daughter. And so, like I said, I was like, I'm going to make this work. And it all just kind of worked out. Like, it was kind of cool. Like, I kind of jumped in a little bit. I definitely recommend people, before you just quit your job, have like a really good solid plan.
So you just
But
quit and went right into it?
yeah, I kind of gave my 2 weeks notice, and I was like, I'm doing this. And that I don't recommend that for everyone, but it worked out.
Well, it's good because it put a little pressure on you and you had to figure it
Yeah.
out and you did it.
All right.
So what
Definitely.
made you transition into doing YouTube content?
Well, it started off, I wanted to start the YouTube to kind of show, like, get business to me. Like, I was
Mhm.
going to solely kind of give tutorials on how to use the products I was selling, so my vinyl decals and kind of things like that. And then people started asking, they were like, "Hey, can you show more behind the scenes of your work?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess I could start doing that." And then I started doing that, and then this beautiful community kind of blossomed from that. And it's been kind of cool. I just show a lot of business tips and tutorials, craft projects, stuff like that. So that's kind of a big part of my business as well.
You're underselling it a little bit. Sally's got over 100K subscribers on YouTube now. She's killing it. She's
Oh,
got
thank you.
the laser machine that she uses all the time, but she's got a lot of business tips. She goes through the day in the life, I guess you would call it. You might have a specific name where she's showing from start to finish of her day where she's using the machine, doing stuff on Lightburn or designing her files, putting everything together. So y'all should definitely check that out.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
actually how I found Sallie is all of
Hmm.
her awesome YouTube videos. Like, holy crap, this lady knows what she's doing. We got to get
Thank
her a
you.
machine somehow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. The next thing that I want to talk about is was there a moment or a project that you made that really made you realize that this was going to get pretty big and that you loved it?
Oh goodness, all the projects. I love doing all the projects on my laser. I started, like I told you, I was making the wood signs. So doing the research that I did, what customers really love is like custom signs for like nurseries and weddings and stuff
Yep.
like that. And I know it can seem so basic, but there's a big need for that. So when I started selling the last name signs, that's like our biggest seller on Etsy is our just simple last name signs. Our business really took off. It became kind of like Etsy, like bestsellers and things like that. So that's really when I realized I was like, I can do a lot of customized products, and I know there's some people that do some beautiful custom signs and things like that. And one day I would love to like experiment a little bit more with that. But I think that the last name signs were definitely kind of like a turning point. I was like, I think that that's what's going to do well here on Etsy because that's what people like. It's what
Right.
people seem to like. Yeah.
So, how has your Thunder Laser machine changed your business for the better?
Oh goodness, I think that it has honestly, it's changed my life for the better because like I mentioned before, my husband was able to work full time with me and I think us being able to spend time with our children more, we're able to homeschool, we're kind of able to do all the things. That's changed my life for the better. It's also substantially increased our income, a lot more, which I think we really could not have done that without a laser. I mean, yes, you can only do so much with your wood plank signs and saws. I mean, I really tried, but the thunder also it becomes like almost like another employee,
Mhm.
you do the work but the laser is able to run and cut out a lot of the work and streamline your process more. So to me that is really how it changed our business for the better. And also the Nova, we have the Nova 51. That's the two lasers we have outside, and then we have the Bolt in here. The 51 I think was perfect for our business just because we're able to put a full sheet of plywood on there, and cut out
Mhm.
as many signs as we can. So that was able to kind of change the game for our business as well as having the space to be able to cut more signs. So I think if I would have gotten a smaller laser, I would have probably upgraded pretty quickly too. So I think that that definitely changed things for us.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. The one of the slogans we're starting to use now is buy
Hmm.
your second laser first. Because a lot of people they go into the hobby laser like, hey, I just want to try this out. I don't want to spend a whole lot of money. And what they don't realize is getting a machine like that is going to limit you like almost right off the bat. And so your growth potential is going to be capped and you're going to need to spend even more money buying
Hmm.
our machine next. So could you
Yes.
speak to that a little bit? I know you haven't had a hobby laser, at least that I know of, but could you speak to why it's better to just jump in to a big machine to start with?
Yeah, so have I knew that when we were looking into getting a laser, it was my first. I've never ever used a laser before in my life. So I will say too, with Thunder, it was so easy, and I say easy. Obviously, it's going to take research and it's going to take the time to practice the different things you're doing. Easy for somebody like me, if I could do it, you can do it, to be able to figure it out and use it. So I wasn't scared of the size, but I knew that we were going to be making last name signs, and I didn't want to cap myself to smaller sizes. I wanted to be able to do big signs. I wanted to be able to, use the pass through, all the custom stuff that can come with the larger lasers. So I do recommend when people ask, should I get the Bolt? Should I get this? Should I get that? I always say, like, what are you going to be making? And do you ever see yourself continuing to grow this business beyond just like, let's say you wanted to start with ornaments, are you going to keep growing beyond that, or how many
Mhm.
ornaments do you want to do at a time? Because eventually if you do it the right way, your business is going to keep growing, right? So
Right.
you need the space to keep growing. So I always recommend, if you're going to do that, larger lasers. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just my opinion. I think that the smaller lasers can be great for many types of businesses, but for us that was what worked for me. And like I said, size shouldn't scare you away.
Yeah. The bigger ones, they work the
Hmm.
same as the smaller ones.
Right.
So you're
Hmm.
not learning anything more difficult. The control panels are the same. Lightburn is the same, which Lightburn is really the only learning curve because the
Right.
machine, you barely do anything. You just move the laser head around and hit start.
Hmm.
So you're going to have the same learning curve with the little hobby machine as you will our biggest one, the Nova 63.
Right. And it only takes just a few minutes to set up every day too, because we run both lasers when we go out to work every day. All we got to do is kind of wipe the optics off, turn the air on, and everything's good to go. We're good to go.
Mhm.
It's pretty simple. So
And so What were some of the challenges you faced before using the Thunder Laser, and how did it help you overcome those challenges? So, did you have specific things with making the signs
Mhm.
or cups or what have you that using a laser, specifically the Thunder Laser, made it easier and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so like I had mentioned, because of I wanted to offer name cutouts, I could not do that with just my miter saw and the saws. I wanted to be able to offer the shapes. I wanted to be
Mhm.
offer the 3D letters on the signs and engraving, and I wanted to do all that, and I couldn't. So having the laser really made it easier, and it fulfilled those challenges that I had by being able to streamline my process and make it easy to do all those things. And I couldn't have done it without the laser at all.
Mhm. Yep, the speed and precision that you get from using a laser machine speeds
Mhm.
everything up. Like I imagine if you couldn't do a little tiny name sign with a scroll saw or a miter saw, but
Mhm.
even if you could, the amount of time you're having to spend to like move it
Right.
around, the laser just goes zoom, 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 zoom.
Right, right. I love
And
it.
and the higher power laser you have, the quicker it will cut. A lot of people get scared by the 130 watt versus a 10 watt versus a 50 watt. And
Mhm.
what that means is as you increase your power, you can cut thicker and you can cut faster. So if you're looking at getting a laser machine and you don't know what wattage to get, I would say to think about what's the thickest I'd ever want to cut and what am I going to be using the machine for most often. If you're mostly engraving, having 130 watts not going to really do much for you. But if you plan on doing a lot of cuts, even if it's on thinner materials, the 130 watt will cut that faster than any other wattage we have.
Yeah, but with that 130 watt, it engraves great. Like I've made some really beautiful custom, like we do a lot of ornaments around Christmas, and we do a lot of like the map signs and even like photo stuff, and it looks amazing because I have the extra lenses as well.
Mhm.
So I mean, I guess if people wanted a little bit of best of both worlds, I've made it work with the 130 watt too. So.
That's actually really good to talk to because
Mhm.
one of the questions we get all the time is can the 130 watt get fine detail? That's a concern that everybody has.
Yeah.
And I try to point to people like you made that video of you engraving the photo of your dog, I remember.
Mhm.
And that was with the HR head. I think you did it with the 2 inch as well. And really, it's all in the
Yes.
settings. You got to get it
Mhm.
dialed in. And you have to play with the 130 watt just as much as you have to play with the 60 watt.
Right.
But once you get them dialed in, it doesn't really matter. Now, are there
Mhm.
limitations here and there on
Yeah.
the wattages? Yeah. But for most of what people are looking to do, the 130 can do it all. Can you share one success story or milestone that has happened since you started your laser business? One thing that sticks out.
One thing that sticks out. So, like I mentioned before, our income has substantially grown because we're able to offer what people are actively looking for. And when you have a product that you can make more of a profit on, and people are looking for it, you can increase your income a lot more. So that has led to my husband working full time with me, which was a huge milestone. And then those two things together, we're able to be home with our family, which I think that's the biggest blessing that you can have is being able to just spend time together with your family, which is why most people want to start a business. They want the freedom, the flexibility, the time with their family. And for me, that was my why.
Mhm.
So I feel like we're at that point of our life and our career where we're really, happy. And so, yeah.
Awesome.
Hmm.
It's great to hear. I know a lot of people are in a similar boat. They want to be at home with their kids, or they're tired of having a boss and working a 9 to 5. They want to do their own thing. And like you just got to dive into it. And can you have a plan ahead of time? Absolutely. Probably the best to have a plan. But like I said earlier, you just jumping in without having a whole business plan that gave you the pressure to make it happen. Whereas if you're sitting there thinking about making a plan, you may delay making that jump for a year,
Hmm.
2 years, 3 years. So yeah, a lot of people that are in the same boat as you, and they can make this jump and start a career for themselves to have more time for their family.
Right.
So, what do you like most about Thunder Laser USA? And this could be the machine, it could be support, it could be videos, whatever it is. Like, what is your most favorite thing about our company?
I could say everything, but I know I can't say that. But I honestly, and I tell people this all the time, I mean this wholeheartedly because we have used the lasers for, well, the ones outside for 3 years now. The support, the customer service, quality, the software, capabilities, the ability for growth. I could go on and on and on. The 1 hour training was amazing. Like I said, that's really great that you get that almost like one-on-one time to ask questions and do things, as well as your website having the troubleshooting, and your YouTube channel, things like that really help when people need help, and the Facebook groups, things like that, as well as like I said, having the lasers for 3 years should be a testament that we use those hard. Like we run those lasers every day, all day, and they have done so well. And we haven't even had any problems. Just regular maintenance, like replacements, things like that. But that's to be expected when you are running them full time. You're going to have to replace things. You're going to have to do things. That's part of it. But they have worked so well for our business. So, and oh yeah, the support, I should say, they are amazing. Like I've never in my life, I have a lot of different machinery and different things. I've never experienced such high quality support as I have with you guys. I
Mhm.
mean, if you have a question or anything like that, the support is on it. They're knowledgeable. They get back to you quickly. And when you have a business, you need that support. You need somebody that you can contact. And the fact that you guys have a US base, you're on the same like time zone, so you can message them and get a response. And then if you guys have ever had to ship me out things, it's quick and fast. And so to me, like I said, having a business, that is why I knew that Thunder would be good. I'm so glad that we were right and that we didn't make a huge mistake. So like I said, pretty much everything. I probably covered that you guys are amazing in every way, shape, and form. But people think like I'm just saying it because I have it, but I'm being honest. Like I don't lie to people when they ask about like different machinery and things. I'm going to be honest, and that is why I'm so pro Thunder is because I've had such a great experience. So
So what's next for your business? Do you have anything exciting that you're working on? Anything that's coming up? Do you have any new products? What's next for Sallie?
For our future right now, we are just continuing working at the shop, keep growing and adding new products. And in terms of growth, if it is for us to continue to grow and add employees and keep growing, great. If it's also in the future for us to just keep working from home, just my husband and I,
Mhm.
being content and happy with that, great. I think that every family dynamic's different, and what works for you in terms of success, we've been very blessed and worked very hard to get where we are. So if that is to keep working from home, that's great too. I've kind of come to terms with, like just find what makes you happy, and in every single business and every single, like if you look at success in every business, it can be different in so many ways. So I've just
Mhm.
kind of left that open to we'll see what happens. And I'm excited for the future. And yeah, that's really what we're doing right now. And also, I love sharing on YouTube and things like that. So I would love to find like a good middle mix of like sharing more on YouTube and having more tutorials, especially laser tutorials, and being able to continue growing our business. So those are the kind of the things right now that I have kind of going for our future.
Awesome. Yeah, I bet it's difficult to try to focus on YouTube and actually run the
Yeah.
business full time. You have to like stop with your orders or get way ahead in order
hmm
to really slow down and make the YouTube videos. So what kind of tutorials do you want to make?
All the things. I have so many. Well, if you've seen my channel, I do a lot of crafty things. I just love to do all that kind of stuff. So, pretty much just more laser tutorials on how to do different things with your laser, how to increase your income by creating products with your laser, DIYs. I just love, I work mostly with wood, but I would really like to expand to try more with acrylic and leatherette.
Mhm.
Hat patches or something I'm kind of interested in looking into. So I do want to expand my business a little bit more with stuff like that and just trying to play with a little bit more products. Because when you get busy, you realize how much less time you have to play with more materials.
Mhm.
And that's kind of why I was saying with the future and growing, when you're so busy with work, it's hard to play around with all the things. So,
Yep.
yeah, I would love to try some new products on the laser for sure.
And if you get into hat patches, that bolt is like
Yep,
by far the best hat patch machine on the market.
that's awesome. I can't
The,
wait to
the
try it.
quickness at which they do the engravings, and then also the detail that you can get on it.
Oh yeah, I love the Bolt so far. It's been so cool to be able to not have the air compressor and all the things because with the Novas you have all the things that you have to add to it, but
Yep.
it is a pretty cool laser I think for having indoors for sure.
And for the price point, all the machines that are around that same price, they're nowhere near the
hmm
same build quality, and you
No,
definitely don't get the support that you get with the Bolt.
no.
What advice would you give someone who is wanting to start a laser business?
So I would say if you are really ready and you want to start a laser business, I say go for it. Like, don't let all of the scary thoughts and worry deter you. I know that there's a lot of like logistics and things that go into creating a business, but I think that with hard work, dedication, and practice and all of that, you can have a successful laser business. You really, truly can. And to not let those unknowns scare you, because I know a lot of people, they think that they can't do it because they see the laser and they're intimidated by it,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "There's no way I can learn to do this. I can't do this." But you can if you put your mind to it. And I know that, like I said, space can be an issue for some people and all the things, but the bolt can fit in a craft room. I mean,
Yep.
you can start somewhere. And so, like I said, if that's a goal for people, I think that you should chase your dreams, and I think that you should go after it. And you can have a truly successful laser business for sure. And it's really cool to have the laser because you can make a lot of cool gifts for your family and friends. Like that's always been kind of cool for around Christmas time, and things are like, can I have this made, or can I have that? So it's been kind of cool to be able to just make all the things. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that I was thinking about is I know you've got an answer for this. So when you started this journey down the craft road and then the laser machines and all that, is there one thing that you would do different that you would give advice to somebody who's brand new starting out? Don't do this. Do this.
That's a hard one. I would say if people could really focus, because I think a lot of times you just throw your products out there and you just hope for the best, and if you don't get results, then you think that you failed. I
Mm-hmm.
think that there's beauty in that. I think that people should make sure. Obviously, you need to do research. You need to really research products and what people are looking for, and then once you have really done that research, really practice and practice and practice and get good at what you're doing. Don't be thinking that you're capped on your learning, because you can continue to learn always and better your products. I know I've learned so many things throughout these couple of years of doing having a laser. I've learned like, for example, like local lumber yards are so much cheaper to get your wood than going to like Home Depot and places like
Mm-hmm.
that. So like buying wood in bulk and different things like that. Like you can keep researching and continuing to better your craft, and just don't give up. Like I think that that's a thing that a lot of people get these machines and things and they get scared. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that research can be your best friend and practice can be your best friend. But I guess that's what I could say that people should focus on the most.
All right. Well, Sally, thank you so much for getting on the spotlight with us today. Everybody's going to love listening to your story and your advice on how people should pursue laser machines going forward. And y'all, please check out Sally's channel, Simply Sallie. Sally, if you have a few words.
All right, well, thank you so much, Grant, for having me on here, and I appreciate it. And I definitely love my lasers, all of you that are watching this, and I hope that we can do this again sometime, Grant.